All right, what's going on, guys? I'm Rob,
And this is Nick.
and today we have an alternative topic for you. We're going to be talking about real estate investing and how you can diversify your portfolio and take your profits, whether it's from crypto, stocks, or any other investments, and use that capital to get into real estate to diversify your overall portfolio. So today we have Chris with us,
What's up, guys?
and Chris is Nick's buddy, and he's here in town, and he's came to join us and talk about real estate. So, Chris, why don't you briefly walk us through your background in real estate so we can kind of get a sense of where you're at, and we could, go down that rabbit hole.
Absolutely. Rob and Nick, thanks for having me on this awesome show. I've been watching you guys for a couple of your episodes. I love seeing hustlers making moves, and I'm all about supporting my homies. So thanks for having me on the show. So I've been in the real estate game. I've been an agent for about 7 years now, 7 wonderful years, and there's a lot of misconceptions about real estate and what all's involved. I'm an agent, but I'm also an investor, and there's a lot of different things that we can talk about that comes into that. But it's life's too short to just pay bills and die. And what I love about you guys is, you're teaching people how to go make money, do some side hustles, and also build these alternative streams of income so that they can quit their jobs and they can go have fun and go kick off their own things and live the life that they want to live.
How'd you get into real estate?
Oh man, I was a product of the of all those that wonderful recession in 2008. I used to do event marketing for Pepsi back in the day, and when everything tanked, I was out there, and my first company that I worked for, they canned everybody, and I got let go. So was kind of back and forth a little bit, and then eventually went back to get my MBA, and then I landed myself in a doing marketing stuff. And after I finished my MBA, I was trying to get a job to become a management consulting or a marketing consultant. And before I got my MBA, nobody wanted to hire me because I didn't have an MBA. And then when I got my MBA, nobody gave a shit, and they're like, "You need more experience." And I was like, "All right, well, great." So I had to go kick off my own company. I had to go. I just had to go figure it out, and I launched my marketing consulting business before I even had a single client. So I said, "All right, let's go." And I was consulting with different co-working spaces. I was working with all the people that wanted to be like the WeWork. This is very, very early. This is like 2013, 2014. So I was consulting with a bunch of people that wanted to go open these own co-working spaces. And what my goal back then was, I wanted to inspire 1 million people to go kick off their own business. And so I was consulting these people on where to go. And I was charging these different spaces anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000 a month for a consulting engagement. And we did a deal, and I told them, "Hey, this is where you should set up a space and everything else." And then I saw how much the broker was making on the deal by signing that lease, and I said to myself, "Man, I'm on the wrong side of the table." So I immediately said, "All right, I got to go get my real estate license." And then all the investing just kind of came as a result of just being around really, really sharp people, learning what they're doing, and then eventually becoming an investor myself.
All right, Chris, I've known you for, what is it now? Almost 10 years now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What do I want to ask you? So I remember talking to you probably 5 years ago. I initially got you into crypto. So we both made some money in crypto. Say to our viewers out there, someone has maybe $5,000, $10,000, maybe even $20,000 sitting on the side that they want to invest. How would you tell them to invest it, like in real estate? To make the quickest amount of profit, the best amount of profit, the most least amount of risk? Like, what would you?
Absolutely. So there are a bunch of different flavors of real estate, and that's what I love about it. And the biggest misconception that a lot of people have is you have to have 20% down to buy a property. And that's why a lot of people are kind of hesitant to get into real estate investing, whatever else. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because you have a bunch of different avenues that you can get in, or you just get a lower price property, and then you can finance it for maybe 15%. And then you could buy the property, you could flip it. But the real opportunity is wholesaling. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of wholesaling or are familiar with wholesaling, but you basically, you find that zombie house that's in your neighborhood. Go drive around in your neighborhood, see that house that's all boarded up, the one that all your neighbors are bitching about. The grass is tall as hell, like it's all boarded up. There might be people squatting in there or might not. You need to find out who that owner is, because you can probably get that property. So let's just say that property, so I'm going to talk about it in terms of ARV, after repair value. Let's just say you get this dumpy property. It's in an okay neighborhood. You get this property. Let's just say the ARV value is maybe like, let's just say it's 300. That dumpy property, this owner might still live there. They might be, who knows what kind of condition they're in. A lot of times there's so many stories, there's so many antics. Long story short, that property is a burden to that neighborhood and it's a burden to that owner. So you can tell that owner, hey, I want to buy that property from you. I'm going to buy it cash. I'm going to pay all the closing costs. And I'm going to close in 35 days. And then you can get that property ARV 300. You could get that property under contract for like $75,000 or $75,000 or like $100,000 or whatever else. And you only have to put down maybe 1% earnest money or something like that. So maybe you're putting down $1,000 on this property. And then you turn around and you wholesale it to another investor. You get that thing locked up with that original seller. Then you turn around and you flip it to another investor, and then you make that spread without putting any risk of doing the flipping and having to deal with the contractors and all that jazz. And you can do that in 35 days to 45 days. It's the real deal.
Where are you going to find the buyer?
There are buyers all over the place. You have the hedge funds that are out there. You have local investors. There's just there are a lot of properties out there that they're great opportunities for people that are wanting rental income. And the buyers are guys like you that are out there that got money on the sidelines that who knows what this crypto thing could look like. And as Nick said, take the profits. I've been there where I wrote the shit down and it's not fun. You're way better off just pull your profits out, pull a little bit of capital and go park it into an asset like a wholesale deal. Or if you wanted to buy something and hold it, I mean, you're only talking maybe 15 to 20% down as an investment property.
So simplify that transaction again. The after repair value is $300,000.
Yep.
And how do you get to putting in only $1,000? Like walk through that transaction again to simplify.
So we call it an A/B B2C transaction. So the A is the seller, B, I'm the buyer.
Okay, so the seller is the guy with the beat up house, and you go approach him.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, are you looking to get out of your house? I can sell it for you in 30 days.
Yeah, we don't tell them we can sell it in 30 days. We say we're going to buy it. We're going to close it in 30 days. So we actually do physically buy the property. We physically buy the property, and then we work with the closing attorney.
How do you buy the property with only $1,000?
So we get it under contract. We get it under contract for that $1,000. And then
what's the $1,000 fee?
What's that?
What does the $1,000 get you?
That's the earnest money. So that is your security deposit to be in the contract. So that's saying, hey, look, I want to buy your house, and to show good faith that I'm going to close, I'm going to give you $1,000, and you're going to get the other $1,000 at closing. So what we do is we have the closing far enough out, so within that time we can market it to other buyers that are on Facebook or since I'm an agent, I can market on the MLS. We can market it to other people, and then they'll come along and we can close it if the C party, which is the end buyer, if they're usually cash or hard money, we do what's called transactional funding. We use their money to close on our deal. So it's funny because one of the first deals I did, the closing attorney was like, all right, so this is A, this is B, this is C. Who's bringing the money? I was like, C. So imagine that and if you do that 5 times, that's only $5,000 that you're only having to put of your own capital up. And you just have to potentially flip these properties in 30 days. You can make, some of these deals are making like 10, 20, 40, 50K a deal on a wholesale deal.
So it's just to finalize it. So it's $300,000 after return value.
After repair value, yeah.
But what is the actual price of the home in this example?
So after repair value, let's just say we locked it up for $100.
Like I'm talking like before before repair value because you're buying it at that
Yeah,
price,
so
right?
we're buying at 100. We're
buying
buying
at
at
100.
if I buy it at 100, I'm going to turn around and market it for like 150, depending on how much work it needs. 150, maybe 160 ballpark. Somebody's going to buy a thing for 50, 60. I'm going to close that thing in 35 days. I just made 60 grand.
So someone's going to buy it for 150 and with the belief that they can sell it for the ARV of 300.
With
and then
knowing that they can, because when we like the market has all of the data that's showing, hey, all these homes are selling for 300 or whatever else once they're repaired and up to snuff and to that code.
So you come in and profit the difference between the 100,000 and the 50,000.
Yep. In 35, 40 days.
So I have a question. So,
Gotcha.
So the value that you're bringing is that person that's in the house. They're not an expert in marketing. So you're getting paid for bringing the investors to buy the house essentially. Like they're willing to sell it to you because they want to get out of the house.
Yeah. Yeah. They want to sell it to us because a lot of times it's a distressed asset. Sometimes they have a problem tenant in there that hasn't paid rent in months, and they're just tired of being landlords and they're ready to move on from it. Sometimes they inherited their property. Like we did a deal not too long ago where it was a land deal, and these people they inherited this piece of land. And it was a I don't want to say it was a total dump, but it was kind of a total dump. But we still made about 60 grand off that land.
So total risk, you're out maybe the earnest money, $1,000, $1,500 maybe. Mm-hmm. That's only if you don't find another buyer within the 35 to 45 days.
Within your due diligence period.
Within the contract.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like not a bad
thing.
There's a lot of work that's involved.
There is a lot of work. I mean, that is just like we simplified that. Like I have 4 cold callers. I have 4 cold callers that are banging out the phones. They're really good. I have a business partner. He's badass. Like my company's called Your Place Sold.
So you're doing this actively right now?
Yes, I am actively doing this, and it's we're currently doing it in 2 states, Georgia and Florida. So, and what's great about it is, I'm the real estate agent, so I get paid a commission on the other side too. So, if you're gonna pay yourself twice.
What if you're not a real estate agent? Like, how do you get into this?
You still can do it if you're not a real estate agent. There's some different. There are a lot of wholesalers out there, and wholesalers kind of get a bad connotation because a lot of them are just a little bit grungy, and they're kind of high sales. And sorry, you guys been getting so many phone calls, but if you want to sell your place, let's talk. But there are a lot of wholesalers out there that are not licensed. Soon enough, the National Association of Realtors, they're trying to crack down on that because they want to be able to regulate and just make sure that the people that are conducting these deals are really good and credible and have had some significant good background checks. And I mean, that's why everything we do is above board. Everything that I told you guys is 100% legal. And we even disclose to these sellers that we are investors, that we are going to market this property in the event that we don't want to close it. And we're operating well above board in those regards. So, but it's easier if you are a real estate agent because you understand how to price the property, and you're not going to leave money on the table, and you're going to get out of these deals quicker.
So outside of that, because we started off with, if you have X amount of capital from crypto or other investments to put into real estate, this could get you in for $1,000 if it's $100,000 property, but that would be more if it's a $500,000 property.
Yeah.
But outside of that, because you would have to find a buyer and kind of, close the whole deal and everything. Outside of that, what are some other ways that someone can get into real estate that maybe would not require as much work or hustle? Because this is like a monthly business. Like you're going to do this on a monthly basis. Like if someone wants to be more passive, they're like, all right, I made some money in crypto or stocks, or, I have some other cash, but I want to get into real estate. How could I do it without like being so time consuming?
Sure. Yeah. Another thing you could do, one avenue that a lot of people don't talk about with real estate investing, they don't really talk too much about commercial real estate investing. So if they were to buy a smaller shopping center or industrial building or whatever else, they could buy a property and all of the expenses are paid by the tenant. So we call those deals triple net. So if they were to buy, let's just say they were to buy a 10,000 square foot industrial building wherever it is. And what's industrial used to be kind of cheap. It's gone up a lot. Before, the leasing rates for industrial, you could find them for $7 a square foot or something like that. And now we're seeing industrial at like $18 a square foot, which that used to be office prices. So, but what's great about industrial is if you buy a warehouse, you charge them $10 a square foot or whatever else, and then your property taxes, your insurance, and your common area maintenance, you figure out what that costs you, and then you pass that expense to the tenant. So the tenant, and they're paying, and the tenant is signing. They're not signing a 1-year lease. They're signing a 3, 5, 10-year lease on this thing. So in essence, your risk exposure is just buying that property for 20, 25% down. And there's some markets where you can buy a warehouse for $250,000. I sold the warehouse in Conyers last year for $240,000. I should have bought it. I mean, I'm pissed at myself because I didn't buy it. But there's some good industrial properties out there that you can do that, and it's way less. It's way less of a headache. Usually, you're going to get a pretty quality tenant that's going to be there for a while, and that's because if you were to buy a single family house and make it a rental, you still have to pay property taxes. You still gotta pay HOA fees or whatever else. But on commercial real estate, particularly with industrial and retail, you pass all of those expenses on to the tenant and they pay for it, and you just ride the appreciation, baby.